Hello, today is a nice easy lesson, lesson 52, and actually we have already talked about this, so it should be a piece of cake. Naming numbers to 100 billion. It sounds big, but it's really not that difficult because we've already, like I said, already done it a little bit together. So, lesson 52, naming numbers to 100 billion. Now, the best way for us to review this is to take a look just at the place values that we already know. So, the place values that we already know would include 1, tens, actually ones, tens, hundreds. And you should know the next one without any problem, which is 1,000, 10,000s. Trying to squeeze them in here. 100,000s. All right, now the next one. What is it? I hope you said millions, because that is what it would be. Millions. And then it's following the pattern of 10 millions and 100 millions. And then what is the next one? Hopefully you got it. As billions. And then 10 billions. And 100 billions. Now, each of these will have the comma after the value name. That's how you can read them. So when you see the comma, that's why the commas are important. They help you know when to say the name. So for example, if I were to say this number right here, not hard at all once you know your place values, because you only read one little set at a time. So this would be 47, say the name, billion. Then you say this little number, 23, say the name, million. Read this little number, 136, say the name, thousand. Read this little number, 27. We don't have a name at the end. There's no comma at the end. So again, it's just grouping, and that's why I think it's so important that we get in the habit of using parentheses. So let's give you another number and see if you can read it out loud. I will leave the chart names up there, and hopefully you will not have a problem at all with this. And then we'll look at a few other things that relate to the place value. Here is your number. Okay, go ahead and say it. Did you get it? 130 billion, 27,100,040. So realistically, this is a piece of cake. Once you know that you're just reading three little numbers and then giving its place value name. Now, what else the book is going to ask you is something like, in this case, what number is in the 10 millions place? Well, the 10 millions place would be, well, you go the hundreds, thousand, here's my millions. That's the number. The 2 is in my 10 millions place. So it's going to ask you for stuff like that as far as what number is in this place. It's also going to ask you what number is the, let's change colors, what value is that 1? Well, in that case, you would say 100,000. If it was a 6, you would say 600,000. So sometimes they may ask you what number's in the place value. Other times they may give you the number and say, what is its value? Pretty much that's going to be what you are doing with this chapter, is just playing with those numbers. Once you can remember that you've got this set right here, and then you have thousands, millions, and billions, you're set. So be careful, though, that you make sure you remember that you say the group and then say the name. Now this set is also going to ask you to use words to name things. I'm going to give you a real simple one just to save us a little time, but if I had they might say, write that in words, use words to name it. Well, that would be pretty easy. You would say 3,000. Again, get in the habit of making that comma when you say the name. 3,740 hyphen 6. 3,746. Don't forget things like your hyphen, because that would be marked wrong if you didn't have it in there. So again, they'll ask you sometimes to put it in names. Other times they're going to give you name words and you have to put it in numbers. The last thing that they're going to ask you to do, which you're going to have to think back to, is writing numbers in expanded notation. So if they gave you 2,000, let me erase that so it looks nice and neat. 240,003. Well, if they said write that in expanded notation, remember expanded notation is pulling it out like an accordion. So parentheses 2 is in the 100,000s place, plus 4, don't forget your parentheses, in the 10,000s place, plus 3 in the ones place. You don't have to put in the things for the zeros in between, but just make sure you've written them correctly. Double check when you've gone from a standard form number, which remember this is standard form, to expanded form. So expanded form, again, it's going to pull it out like an accordion. Standard form is just nice and small. Push together accordion. That is all that we have with this lesson. So like I said, I think it's going to be pretty easy once you can remember that you've got the tens, ones, tens, hundreds, then the thousands group, then the millions group, and then the billions group. That's all for you tonight. Have a great evening.